Many of us have been playing chess for quite a while, and we know that each piece has its own value. We've been taught to count the values of those pieces on the board, and the total score, for instance, if we are up on exchange, gives us better chances to win the game. Taking a closer look at the true value of chess pieces, we should first identify their basic scale value on the board. We all know this. The piece with the highest value is the queen, then the rooks, the bishops or knights, and so on. However, it is more important to know that the true value of these soldiers is given not only just by its value alone, but also by the placement or importance they have on the board. That is why you sometimes see a passive rook is being worse than a centralized knight or a bishop in an open diagonal. Far advanced connected pawns many times are too powerful for a wrong colored bishop, etc. In many brilliant games, queens are even sacrificed against some other less valued pieces, and the genius still wins the game. In this video, we'll talk about queen versus minor pieces. Being the most powerful piece of attack, the queen is perfect for this study. Seldom will you see amateurs trade their queen for less valued pieces. Maybe thinking, well, I'm not genius like Tao, or fire on board like Shirov or Magnus. But there are situations in which this is not only an interesting option, but also the best way to meet the demands of the position. Listen, there are keys for minor pieces to work out against the queen, and that is activity and coordination. If these are absent in the resulting position, don't allow yourself to be queenless. First, let's look at queen versus two pieces. Usually, a queen sacrifice against a rook and a minor piece, or sometimes two minor pieces. Of course, with that matchup, the queen is always better. Let us look at this game. This is a game between Levon Aronian playing white against Emil Zatovsky in 2011 World Team Championship. This is still the opening phase where black played c takes d4. Then white replies with an in-between move, knight to c4, attacking the queen on a5 before capturing the pawn on d4. Instead of moving the queen away, black played the unexpected d takes e3. Then after knight takes a5, bishop takes c3 check, king e2, bishop takes a5, ending up black playing two minor pieces against the queen. This sacrifice is actually looking obvious, simply because it's too early in the game. Black hasn't even castled yet, and the rest of the pieces aren't yet coordinated. And the game continued and end up with this position. There, here the rook is hanging on f2, and there's a plan for white to push his e-pawn forward, though we can see that those less valued pieces were not able to match the power of the mighty queen. And those counter-attacking attempts by black in this game were just not enough to compensate for that queen sack. White managed to launch his own attacks, and with his more superior pieces, he won the game in the end. It's almost the same scenario in the game between Karpov and Hort in 1974. Hort playing black moves his king to g7, attacking the bishop on f7. And Karpov plays bishop h5, the only move to save the bishop. But black played queen to d3, a blunder, because after rook d1, he has to give up his queen in exchange for rook and bishop, otherwise the rook on d8 will fall for free. So after queen takes d1, bishop takes d1, rook takes d1, and king moves to h2, this is completely winning for white with no compensation for black. With equal number of pawns, no solid plans of attack, and inactivity here for black, and lacking coordination on his side between the remaining pieces in the form of the rook and the knight, it's just losing for black. Later on, white managed to grab the pawn on a7, and few moves later, black resigned. So how are minor pieces or less valued pieces going to match against a queen? Again, it all boils down to piece activity and coordination in the resulting position. This game in Newman Caro in 1905, Black played B takes C3. And after D takes E5, a surprising Queen takes D2 has been played. Knight takes D2, C takes D2, Rook to D1, Bishop takes E5, Rook takes D2, Rook takes Rook, Queen takes Rook, and Bishop takes E4. The resulting position is solid for Black. He's got a protected pass pawn on b5, more number of pawns, an active knight, and the bishop pair in an open position. With these pieces getting coordinated in few more moves, Black's minor pieces should not be underestimated against White's queen. Even after White plays knight to d7, Black just replied with bishop to d6, not minding the rook on f8 at all, because here Black just understood the requirement or the demands of his position. He needs to continue to have a playable middle game and endgame, and the importance of having the bishop pair is better than just keeping the rook on f8. So knight takes f8, king takes f8, queen d4, and now f5. Now all of Black's pieces are well coordinated. The game continues and Black managed to win the game. Next, queen versus 3 pieces. Usually a rook and 2 minor pieces has better chances. In most cases, the power of these pieces is superior to the queen. In Paulson Gunsberg game in 1883, Black played queen takes d2. And after rook takes d2, bishop takes f4, queen to f2, rook to d8, and all of Black's pieces are getting coordinated for a powerful attack. Now, rook h to d1, rook takes d2, rook takes d2, and now rook to d4, g4, h takes g4, h takes g4, and now we could see here bishop takes d2, king goes to b1, and a very brilliant move again, bishop to e3, taking advantage of the weak back rank of White, and then queen to e1 has been played. Now, because of his back rank weaknesses, White's position is inferior. Now, Black continues bishop takes g4, c3, bishop f5, bishop c2, and bishop takes, king takes, and rook to e4. Now queen has to move somewhere. Queen g3, rook e5, queen h3, and rook to e6. And then at the end, Black won the game because of his superior piece coordination and extra pawns that will march forward later in the game. There is a version of 3 pieces without a rook, which means 3 minor pieces altogether work their way to battle against a queen. In this game, White played bishop takes f6, and Black can't retake with a knight, right? Because that would be leaving this bishop on c5 undefended. So he has 2 remaining options here, g takes f6 or queen takes f6. But Black chooses the latter as the more logical option. And after this move, queen takes f6, White has played a very brilliant move, a queen sacrifice, queen takes d7 check. And king takes it, king takes d7, knight takes c5 check, king e7, and knight takes e4, and now it's a battle of 3 minor pieces against a queen. This queen sack is valid, again, because of the activity and coordination of White's pieces. While Black's rooks are still inactive and the king is in the center, this is enough for compensation. And the game continued and ended up in this position. Now, at move 27, Black resigned. White will soon control the 7th rank, and this light square bishop will later join the game, and the attack is just too much for Black to handle. You might say, come on, it's 20th century. Queen versus minor pieces only happen in old century chess. Modern chess is different because of the more systematic way of thinking. with the aid of computers, more sound theories, etc. Well, we might not see it every day, but it still happens a lot even today. In 2017 European Championship, David Anton Giharo, a very strong super grandmaster, was playing against Sergei Azarov. Anton, playing white, became aggressive and sacrificed two minor pieces to expose Black's king out of its nest. Then this came knight f5 check. Now, any king move would be passive and would allow queen to take the f6 knight for free and checkmate in the next move and instantly losing for black. But can you spot the only move to keep the fight going? Well, you can take a pause and be brave enough to make the best move for black. Alright, congratulations for finding queen takes f5. By returning the material, black will seek piece activity and initiative against white's exposed king, because after queen takes f5, bishop takes g2, another impressive move here, because if king takes that bishop on g2, there is knight h4 fork and the queen will be gone. So we can see the resulting position. It's three minor pieces for a queen. This is playable for black because of his active and coordinated pieces. He also got his bishop pair in open diagonals, and the fact that white's king is less safe, now this is more than playable for black. So the game continued c4, bishop to d4, rook a6, rook d6, c takes b5, and rook to h8. The game continued. White realized he is being outnumbered and decided to return the favor, and the bishops are just too powerful. In the end, white lost as his king was surrounded by black's well-coordinated pieces. In fact, it ended this way where the king gets checkmated after black resigned. Here is a beautiful game between Korchnoi and Tiemann in 1991. Black sacrificed a piece to push a pawn on e3 and launch a kingside attack. Now, after e3, can you find the best move for white? You can assess the overall position and the resulting position and try to see if it's worth taking the risk. You can pause the video and find the best continuation for white. Alright, if you found the move bishop takes c8, then you are a brilliant player. Now, after e takes d2, bishop takes g4, we have a queen against three pieces. Now the game continued c4, knight takes d2, c3, knight f1, and c2. Now, there is another brilliant move here for white to save the game and in fact continue his advantage. Can you find that move? Well, that is amazing if you saw rook e1. Now, black can't just capture the b1 rook and promote himself a new queen, because after rook takes e8, this weakness at black's back rank would be checkmate. So he needs to move his king to f8, and after rook takes rook check, king takes e8, and rook to e1 check, black resigned. Because after king to d8, if that is the continuation of the game, white will play knight to e3 and will swing his rook to c1 to take the c pawn 2. And after that, too many to defend for black. And that will do it. I hope you learned a lot today. Remember, for minor pieces to work their way in battling against a queen, it's all about piece activity and coordination in the resulting position. Go ahead and practice and apply it to your games.
Hey, check this video out to make sure that you get more important information to bring your chess to the next level.